السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. بسم الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وإذ يرفع إبراهيم القواعد من البيت وإسماعيل ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا واجعلنا مسلمين لك ومن ذريتنا أمة مسلمة لك وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Dear my brothers and sisters, first of all, let me remind myself and all of you to have a constant remembrance about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have a taqwa each and every moment of our life, especially when it comes to our personal life. All praise and gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who blessed us to be here to celebrate this Eid-ul-Adha, that we commemorate, that we remember the legacy of great Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. All other religions, including Islam, have certain kind of festival, certain celebration. How it differs from Islamic festival and the festival in other religion or in other community? Because among the 5 pillars, the 2 festivals in Islam is closely related to 2 pillars of Islam. As we know, the Eid-ul-Fitr that we celebrate after the fasting of Ramadan is actually very close to the 3rd pillar of Islam. And then Eid-ul-Adha that we're celebrating today is very close to the Hajj, that is the 5th pillar of Islam. That's the main difference when we talk about the difference of celebration in other community and our community in Islam. Or in other words, Islamic celebration is an act of worship. It's a kind of worship. As we are praying, as we are giving zakat, as we are fasting in the month of Ramadan, the Eid is a kind of worship. If you are doing in a proper way, we are going to get the profit from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what we are celebrating and why we are celebrating, especially the Eid-ul-Adha. As we already know, the Prophet Ibrahim and the great trials that happened to Prophet Ibrahim and his son, Prophet Ismaeel. But while remembering the legacy of those great prophets and those tests that happened to the Prophet Ibrahim and Ismaeel, and how come that translate to today, to us? What does it mean by those great trials to Ibrahim and Ismaeel, to me and to you? By saying this story, or by remembering the story of those all great trials that happened to Ibrahim, that might happen even 2000 years ago. What is relevant for us today? To us, to me, to Islam, to every human being in Islam. That's the point I wanted to highlight in today's short khutbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam as a young man. In his youth, he guided, although he was living in a complete non-Muslim society, including his father. His father was an idol maker. He's promoting idol worshipping. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided this young man. And he, by understanding the reality, by understanding the truth, he decided to stand out for the truth. He decided to proclaim about his truth what he understood. And how about our ummah now, especially the youth? We are more comfort with the society flow. We are more comfort with what the other people are doing around us. We don't want to make any change. But the Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, as soon as he understands the truth that worshipping single God and the idol worshipping is shirk, and making association in worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a great sin, then he decided to change the society that start from his home itself. The very first dawah Ibrahim alayhi salam giving was to his father. That beautifully says in the Quran by a great introduction of Ya Abad. Also there is a differences between the thinking of the father and this baby the baby Ibrahim, the youth Ibrahim, yet they were still keeping the relationship by saying, "Oh my dear father, why you are worshipping something which they cannot give you anything, they cannot help you anything," and beautifully presenting the words of Islam to his father, because the father was not guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only the father didn't accept it, he kicked out from his home. But the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam decided to introduce the single God to his community, to his society. Although the society didn't accept it, the king of that time decided to kill him. We know the story. Ibrahim was sent into a fire, the burning fire. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him comfort, and nothing happened to Ibrahim alayhi salam because he was a complete trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the scene Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first introduced about Ibrahim alayhi salam in the Quran. Now when we look at our scenario, our situation, especially the people who are, the Muslims who are living in Japan, we are in a kind of similar situation. We are in a city or we are in a society where more than 99% are not believers. And it is me and you have to change it by remembering this legacy of this great prophet, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Because he stand out for the truth and he decided to introduce about what he understood, that means Islam, to his father, to his family, to his society. It's upon our duty to introduce our family if they are not guided yet, and to our society, our friends. And it's our responsibility too. Maybe you and me were sent from your country to here for this purpose. Rather than just accommodating with the system of the society, we have to change it. We have to stand up. As a young man or as a youth, we have to change the society. This is the number one lesson we have to get from the legacy of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Then after that incident, the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam get married, and he left his city and finally ended up in Mecca. And by the time he had baby Ismaeel alayhi salatu wasalam. And the second test is coming for Ibrahim and Ismaeel to leave this small baby in a barren desert. No vegetation, no water. That was a condition of Mecca at that time. And where no human beings are living at all in anywhere in Mecca. But Ibrahim alayhi salam, by the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was decided to sacrifice himself by leaving his small baby in a barren desert with his mother. Do you know how the Zamzam came after that? But before that, nothing was there. Because the Ibrahim and his mother was complete giving trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being in strong belief that Allah can help the baby. And Ibrahim alayhi salam went back. And the mother was looking for the water from Mount Safa to Mount Marwa. And by the time the angel came and showed the place where the Zamzam is coming. And up until today, the Zamzam is we are considering as a holy water. This actually is go back to the great Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And then after that, when the baby Ismaeel was like old enough to walk with Prophet Ibrahim, the great lesson, the great test that any father can imagine is coming to sacrifice for the baby towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Ismaeel alayhi salam was ready to obey his father, because he himself already gave a good tarbiyah by his father. And this is the second lesson we have to realize. We have to give tarbiyah, a good Islam, a good characteristic for our kids. Otherwise, If you assume if Prophet Ibrahim was not giving a good tarbiyah to Ismaeel, he will not have accepted anything. But what the response of Ismaeel was when he said to Ismaeel, Allah, through the dream, ordered me to sacrifice you. And the great response was, "O my father, do according to the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." We are not asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to leave our baby in a barren desert. We are not asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to sacrifice our baby or our certain very valuable things. Yet Allah asked something to me and to you, to sacrifice something to get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe some of us have a very good business. Maybe some of us have a very high quality of education, very high degree from a very good institute, but we may not be much care of the income that we are getting. We may not sure that the income we are getting is 100% halal or not. Now our family, our kids are very happy. They are getting enough money. They are getting whatever they want, but they don't know the income we are giving for them is actually halal or not. And through remembering the legacy of Prophet Ibrahim and Ismaeel and their great sacrifice to even give his own baby for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we supposed to do is to rethink ourselves and to reflect ourselves, our source of income, our giving our pleasure, our source of income we are giving to our family is halal or not. It may be at the time to think ourselves, our way of the business, our style of living in Japan, our style of discussion, our style of communication with other people in Japan, especially the non-Muslim. And are we keeping our identity as a Muslim, or we are afraid to say we are a Muslim? I'm sure that you might have so many occasions that happen to you, especially in a country in Japan, where you have to decide whether you show off as you're a Muslim or not. But unfortunately, most of us are taking a different opinion of taking that, no, if I say now I am a Muslim, I want this halal food, or I cannot come for the time of this time during the Friday, or I cannot work for the Friday, for example, during the Dhuhr time, then we are afraid that we may lose this job. We may lose the accreditation of that person, or the sensei, or the sacho in the company. Then we are taking, it's okay, we just leave it. Or we are taking the option like praying to all the prayers of days at a time. I mean all the 4 prayers at a time after you come back home. This all because of we are fearful that if I say like I need to pray, or I need to go for Jummah, or I don't want to take this alcoholic drink, or for me my Islam is not allow me to participate in an alcoholic drinking party, then we are afraid that our job may be go, or our level of friendship with your friend or a business person will go. So we are more trying to accommodate in the society, in the social life, rather than changing the society or introducing the society about our characteristic or our culture. Dear my brothers and sisters, by remembering the legacy of Prophet Ibrahim and the great test happened to him, it is the time to reflect upon ourselves, to think our routine, our daily life, and our children, and the relationship with father and a baby, and how much you are spending time for them, and what type of education you are giving. You are only focusing on the worldly education, or you want to do something for the Islamic education also. I'm sure that most of the parents are sending their kids in the Japanese school. Of course, Japanese school doesn't have any problem at all. It's very perfect. Only missing point is they cannot teach about the Islam to their kids in the Japanese school. So we may need some sacrifice. We may need an extra job. Of course, the other Islamic school is the paying cost is high. But we may need some sacrifice for the sake of kids to grow up our kids in an Islamic society or in an Islamic knowledge. We we may need to go every Saturday to maybe the weekend school, or maybe we may need to change our business or our routine to accommodate our kids in an Islamic education system. We may need sacrifices. We may need even sacrifice to our family. And in a case, Ibrahim alayhi salam left his family and he came to Makkah by the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe with our wish or without our wish, by the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of us are here far from our family. Maybe some of you may like to come here, but that's not the case of all of the people. We know there are many Syrian refugees here. They don't want to come here, but they're forced to come here. So, by coming to a different land, it's of course the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has set a different plan. And it is duty upon ourselves to know whatever Allah decided for us is good for us, and we need to strive hard to play our role in the society. Of course, maybe some of us came as a student. Maybe you came as a businessman. Maybe you came as the company transferred from different country to this country. That's one of the duty for you. But Allah had a different plan. Allah's decree has a different plan to play your role as a Muslim in this non-Muslim society, so that the other people, the other non-Muslim people get attracted to do. And by that way, you will have a chance to introduce about Islam to those people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala include it in the people who are actually understanding the actual role of people who are living in Japan. And the last point I wanted to emphasize is the last order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Ibrahim and Ismaeel was to build the Kaaba. The very first construction in the earth to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after construction to the finish, Ibrahim alayhi salam with Ismaeel alayhi salam, they were constantly making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rabbana taqabbal from us. Rabbana taqabbal minna. Oh Allah, accept from us. This is the acts of two prophets, Ibrahim and Ismaeel. They are sure that it will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it's Allah told this to Ibrahim and Ismaeel to construct the Kaaba. Yet, they were asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept the deed which they are doing, to consider as a good deed towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How about us? How many of us sure that the actions we are doing, the praise, the zakat, the sadaqah, or anything we are doing is accepting by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Ismaeel and Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept the deed. The deed is what? The construction of Kaaba. Here is a great lesson we have to understand. We have to have a constant dua first to accept our deeds. We are making uluhiyah as a symbol of sacrificing everything. Along with we are paying money, we have to have a constant prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept the deeds, the sacrifice which we are doing. And the second dua, the Prophet Ibrahim was given, after making the Kaaba, the second dua was, oh Allah, make us the people who are submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, make us Muslim. And then make the future generations of this ummah a Muslim. And because of that, we all are the Muslim ummah. And the third dua after constructing the Kaaba was, oh Allah, give a Rasul from this society, which means the society of Mecca, the Quraysh, so that he can recite in their own language, in their own words. Because of that dua, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came from the Quraysh itself, and the Quran was revealed to them. So every single thing that we are doing as a Muslim, as an ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is actually relating to the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala include the people who are actually understanding the legacy of Prophet Ibrahim and Ismaeel alayhi salam and their great sacrifice, and to implement in our life what we understood from this short khutbah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك مجيب الدعوات يا قاضي الحاجات. اللهم أجرنا من النار، اللهم أجرنا من النار، اللهم أجرنا من النار. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر. الله أكبر ولله الحمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.